Set Life coming to you from Studio One at For the One Studios. I am Kelly Leger.
Amber Buto.
And we are here with my dear friend, Cindy Davis. Andress. Okay,
Yes.
I'm just gonna
Clarify
clarify here.
Yes.
Cindy is like, we've known each other since like middle school. Cindy is like forever friends. So to me, she's always Cindy Davis, even though her husband, who I haven't met yet, who I hear is very precious, Kevin. I'm so sorry. We honor your last name. We honor your wife.
Yes.
But I love Cindy. I love your wife, Kevin. And we're so glad to have you on the show today.
To be here.
Cindy is the owner of Pastorini Bosby Talent Agency here in Houston, Texas. Did I say all that right?
Yeah, you said that all correctly.
One of the best, in my mind, the best talent agency in Texas. I mean, can I go further than that? Hey.
You could.
Yes,
you
you
absolutely
could.
She said, yeah, you
I'll
could.
take Texas for now, though. For now.
And so we're so excited to have you on the show today. And we're going to have some fun and jump into all things talent. We haven't really we've talked to actors. We haven't really gotten to the agency side of it or casting or how any of those things work. So that's going to be fun today.
Yeah, and Cindy has a super cool story.
Oh, yeah.
And, that's what we love.
Mm-hmm.
We love to inspire. We love to encourage. We love to show you and tell you stories of people who have done it in the industry, done right by it in the industry, and have succeeded. And so I can't wait for our audience to hear your story of how you started, where you came from, and to what we just heard, owning a talent agency here in Houston. So take us back to that. I think it was a cold call, phone call, right? Or
Well, what year was this? This was 99, and I am in college here in Houston. And I am looking for a part-time job so I can go to school full-time. And I am going through the Houston Press, which I don't even know if the Houston Press is around.
I remember Houston Press, though.
It's the classified section, and there is kind of a blind ad because it didn't say it was for Pastorini Bosby. It was talent agency looking for a part-time receptionist. And I'm standing at the kitchen at my old job with my resume faxing, which I know the young kids won't even know what that is. But we used to dial this number and insert this piece of paper, and it made all these crazy noises. So I faxed my resume over. The next day, I get an interview with Pastorini Bosby, and I interview with Pat Talbert, who was the office manager at the time, and Jenny Bosby, and Beverly Pastorini. And I think the words of Jenny were, we either hire her to work here or we bring her on as a voiceover talent.
Whoa.
One or the other.
Okay.
But obviously I started working there part-time while I was going to school at U of H. And then shortly after, I'd say about a year after I started working there, I was there full-time. I knew almost immediately when I came in that this is what I wanted to do.
Wow.
I
great.
really loved the talent. I loved the industry. I loved how unique the industry was here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of friends that were represented by Pastorini Bosby growing up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't foreign to me. And so, I did that and moved my way up to an agent. And then 7 years ago, I ended up being partners with Jenny and Beverly.
Amazing.
And then last March, I bought the whole thing.
So great. So
Come
great.
on.
So I say I'm living the American dream because it's just amazing when I think about the different directions that I could have gone in life and how I remember crying to my parents when I was really young and going, sometimes the actors are so mean and there's so much stress. And, if there was just something that said stick with it, because honestly, it was like oxygen to me. I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it is just reiterated over and over in my life that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Wow, that's so cool.
So that's my story.
I'm so blown away because I didn't even actually know until a few minutes ago that you own Pastorini Bosby now, and that really just blessed my heart. It always, of course, somebody that for so long, is so blessed in that way. I'm just like, I'm so happy for you. That is such a cool thing. Like as a kid, and I was kind of threw my hand up there. I was an actor as a kid, so I was actually represented by your company that you own now. As a kid, like on stage for theatrical stuff and whatever.
Good stuff.
And so I'm so happy. I'm like, I don't know if you want to start
you're like,
or I do.
You're like geeking out
I'm
over here
geeking
about
out.
just so proud for
It's
a friend.
so
It's
cool.
so great.
Yeah.
I don't really get a chance to like think about how cool it is until something full
Yes.
circle like this happens,
Yeah.
and you're like, that is kind of cool.
It
Yeah,
is.
it is kind of cool.
It
Yeah.
is.
All amazing blessings.
It is.
And I hope that, it's just for our audience truly to see a moment like this that it just totally encourages you to go, okay, here are two kids doing math in 8th grade together, right?
Both struggling, I'm sure, in middle school.
In
all
normal,
crazy.
crazy middle school life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, as adults, both in careers and getting to sit and rehash the journey is... I'm just here, folks. I'm just here.
Which was so fun. I mean, to rehash the journey, that
Amazing.
was so fun. And I think, I don't know about you, but I know I can look back and go, ooh, I wish I could have said to 6th grade Cindy, it's all going to be okay.
Gosh, you better believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you better believe it.
A lot of
I mean,
anxiety.
Yeah.
Right?
so maybe you are 6th grade Cindy right now.
Yeah.
Stay the course.
Stay
Lady,
the
stay the course,
course.
man. Whoever you are,
Yes.
stay the course.
The persistence,
Yeah.
and part of your story when you were saying that there was just something inside of you that said kind of stick with it, because getting to where you are now obviously wasn't an easy feat.
No.
It never is. Things of value aren't easy. They are work. And so keeping that persistence, that desire that's inside of you that, okay, I'm going to make it this step to this step to get
And I
to
think
where.
there's something to be said for like, because on your side, you tell your mom the actors are so mean and that. But as a kid, I was saying the same thing about like a casting. I'd be sent to an audition, but they're so mean. You're just a number. So everybody's got a side. So I guess the point is, there ain't no easy road.
No.
There's just the road.
Yeah.
So we all got stuff to say about the road, but just like stay the course.
Yeah.
Like every side, it doesn't matter. The grass is always greener on the other side, but it ain't. It's just the other side.
Yeah.
And to stay the course is a big deal. I'm real curious, Cindy, like what it was that like made you, what so intrigued you about that industry? What was it that kind of lit you up and like, damn, this is cool, or I enjoy this? Tell me about like your desire for it.
So I was lucky enough to go to the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts here. So I thought for a very quick second that I wanted to be an actress. A very quick second. And I think I found out really quickly that like, this is, I don't want to act, but I'm so in love with this industry.
Yeah.
And then I was given an opportunity in high school to be a stage manager.
Oh, wow.
And that was my first kind of hint of, I really like the idea of organizing the pieces so that other people can shine.
Yeah.
And so that was the seed that was planted was, okay, how do I get more of that?
Yeah.
And then just a total God thing where I knew that might be a direction that I wanted to go in, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be with stage, with theater. And then a lot of doors were closing for other avenues in my life. Like I've tried to get jobs at other places and it was like, no, this is not, it was like, this is your direction. This is where you're going. And I'm going to show you, this is where you get to do that thing that kind of makes your heart sing. So that's the part of the industry that I still really love is looking at somebody who has a lot of talent and saying, how can I make you shine?
Wow.
Yeah.
What
so
are the
good.
pieces that we need to put together to get you out there, make you shine,
Wow.
make you the best you can be?
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Yeah.
it. You don't hear people say that a whole lot.
Not in
to
this
be honest.
industry,
Not
you
in this
don't.
industry. Everybody's
That's
like,
the best part.
I'm the
Yeah,
shiny one.
that's
I'm the
right.
shiny one. I want to be a star. Like to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
stars. That's a different.
I can
Aspect.
relate so much to that
Mm.
to that same philosophy. You know, being a studio owner, it's like we offer a concierge service here. We offer all kinds of things here to make production shine.
Right.
Like I want to make the production team
Right.
look as good
To
as
their
possible
client.
to their client,
Right.
make them shine.
Yep.
You know, how can we assist you? How can we support you? How can we build a structure around you so you shine?
Right.
Right.
You know, how do we lift you up
Right.
and allow you to create your best creativity that you've got
Wow.
for the
That's right.
day?
I mean,
That's right.
can you have anybody better in your corner than somebody who wants to do that for you? Like that is.
Jeez, I hope not.
Gosh,
Yeah.
that's like everybody's like the dream mom.
Yeah.
You're like the team mom. You know, with like all of your talent. You're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I joke. I mean, it's kind of a joke, but
Yeah.
I don't have kids, and this is why.
wow. You got.
I mean, I have a lot of children.
You got a
Mhm.
lot.
No, but you
Yes.
do. There is. It's like, you know, you're part mom, you're part bartender, you're part manager, you're
Right.
you know, your best friend, your confidant. I mean, all of
Yeah.
those things kind of rolled into one, and
Yeah.
and I enjoy it.
You're a great talent agency, a great talent agent. I mean, that is a cool. You know,
Yeah.
I had been around quite a few of them over the years. You know, in my career now, and that's if you're an actor out there. I mean, not that you want necessarily every actor knocking on your door, but if you are, that's the kind that you should be looking for. I'm
Yes,
just going to
that
say who
is.
fights for you like that. I mean, that's a
Mhm.
that's a great thing. And speaking of that, just maybe on the practical side of things. So what you talked about seeing the talent in people, and I know that's super subjective maybe or whatever, but what does that look like? What are you looking for? What do you see? How do you describe that? Like when you're talking about somebody who comes in or somebody who submits a headshot or wants to be in the industry. What is it that you're looking for? Like what for you in particular?
Well, so that changes
Okay.
based on the market.
Okay.
Yep.
And it has to. There are also more things that you have to take into consideration before
Yep.
you sign someone. I mean, there are a
Mhm.
lot of people with a lot of raw talent that you just don't want to work with
Right.
for
Yep.
various reasons. So the talent is definitely one part of it, but then it is, this is a business at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have to have some of that going for you. I mean,
Yep.
you have to understand that you don't show up late.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, these
Yeah.
are some of the things. And so what we're looking for is we're trying to match the needs of the casting director, the needs of the productions that are going on
Yep.
in our area of the world. And we see all of those, and we're looking for talent that will be good matches for those things. And so we know that we're living in a world that is ever evolving and what it wants to put out there for commercials and for films. And so we have to be able to answer the call.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
You
true.
know, so somebody who may not have been very marketable a year ago could
Yeah.
very well be
Yeah.
marketable
Such
now.
good points.
So true.
You know, and so we all kind of have to evolve.
Wow.
And I think it's important to, like, as a producer, as an agent, you are the middleman between the creatives and the executives. And you have to marry the creative and the executives together to develop the best possible situation.
Right. Right.
And the executives are telling you one thing, so you're saying, trying to meet the needs of that, which is market bearing, right? And then you have creatives who are creatives that don't understand executive world and don't understand, well, no, this month that worked, short hair worked, but now the next month, nope, they don't want short hair. They're going to all be looking for a certain look because it's something that just hit the market.
Right.
And they're
Sure.
all trying to,
Yeah.
emulate or follow the trend or try to get involved or whatnot, and that's a
Totally.
special skill to be able to
It's
master
like
that.
you're translating.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
know, like you've got two different languages.
That's right.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and so I somehow have to be able to convey,
Mm-hmm.
the needs of each so that we can make this work.
Mm-hmm.
However, with a very clear understanding,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the agent for the talent.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
There's so many things going through my head about all this right now, but it's like, when you're doing film, right? Or, they say you write a movie 3 times. When you actually write the movie, when you shoot the movie, and when you edit the movie, because
Yeah.
every one of those processes could totally drastically change
Yeah.
the movie.
Right.
But in some ways, I mean, casting is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because like as a director, I have to take what I see here, and I have to convey that clearly to enough people so that ends up on the screen. Because at any step along the process, that train can get derailed.
That's right.
And it turns into something else. Sometimes better, but sometimes not. And so that's a whole process. It's got to be the same way for talent, because you got the casting director, the director who wants a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
How has that process been for you? I mean, is it clear? Do you have to help them sometimes figure out what they want? Or?
I think it's more murky than it's ever been post-pandemic. If we're saying post-pandemic, is that what we're doing now?
I think so. I think that's
and part of it is because, you've had a casting director who is able to really make a clear description and help interpret those needs for each of the roles. And so that entire scenario would play out in a casting room for an audition, where the actor is there physically in front of that casting director getting feedback on tweaks to make and these sorts of things. Well, now nobody's in a room doing an audition.
Right.
It's all taped.
Right.
And so you've kind of got this gap where if it's not written on a sheet of paper and communicated clearly on that sheet of paper, then you've got actors who are doing a lot more interpretation than they ever had to do.
Yes,
They
this
can't
is
even
what I was going to say.
give their best if they don't know.
It's hard.
So in communication, they say that, okay, I may be off a couple of points on this, but only 7% of what we say is consumed and heard.
I believe that.
That you have another 40% of it that is inflection, right? How we say it, the intent. And the rest of it is made up in our hand motions and our body language, So that is a large part of communication that is lost in just text.
Right.
Which is what I teach my kids, right? You can't break up in text. You can't do certain things in text, okay?
Please.
There's certain things that has to be a conversation. It is not meant for written.
Right.
Like you lose too much. The interpretation is too broad.
Which is why I love voice messages. If you get voice messages from me, because I'm
Same.
like, hey, like too much to text right now. I'm just going to say all this.
Yeah.
I love voice messages.
And you could read this really wrong,
And
so
you could
I'm
read
going
it
to now show it
wrong,
in my nice
Exactly.
voice.
So that's hitting the acting space.
Yep.
That same kind of, and so, I think over time, you have a lot of actors who almost have a bit of apathy about the business because they're not getting that necessary feedback to do their very best job, and so it's a challenge.
I mean, I'm thinking I'm sorry.
No, you're
There's
great.
so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like from a director's standpoint, and I probably am maybe a little bit different as a director because I was an actor, and so I sympathize, I understand the talent, So when they would come into an audition when we were doing a lot more of that, I'm there's something I'm looking for.
Right.
I'm something I'm looking for. It's maybe an intangible, but you know it when you see it. And then when I do, and I'm like, okay, we can work with that. And I can dive deeper. I go, read it this way, say it this way, drop it, da-da-da, do what you think. And because I have time to research and dig in.
Yeah.
But really, case in point for what she's saying, you can't do that.
It's all gone.
If it's just words on a page and say, hey, read it. You don't have to. You can't necessarily read it 12 times.
Yeah, your chance of all of us, if we had a couple of lines here, could deliver it 10 different ways to meet the need of whatever's happening.
Sure.
Right?
Right.
So you could deliver it one way and they're like, sorry, your tape's over. There's not a take 2, 3, 4. Well, could you have said it a little more empathetic? Could you have said it a little more stressed? Could you have said it a little, absolutely. Let me do that again. There aren't those opportunities where in live in a room, you had those opportunities.
That's right.
That's true.
And now, so you got one stop. I can say, though, that a lot of the talent that I have befriended over the years all are like, this is amazing, though, because I just stay right here and I'm not having to go
Sure.
all the time.
Listen, I would joke before the pandemic that the Bucky's Beaver was the mascot of the Texas Actor. Because,
That's true.
I mean, it was not uncommon to go from Houston to Austin 3-4 times a week to be in a room for 5 minutes, turn around and drive back home.
Right.
I mean, that takes a toll on everything, on all of your resources, right?
Yes.
But in exchange for that, you are now missing a lot of that human element that I think is just so necessary to be successful.
Well, have you seen though with when they really like somebody that they give the opportunity to say, okay, can we see them live now?
Usually in the callback stage, and even your callbacks now a lot are done by Zoom. It's still better that you are at least getting some, you know, real-time feedback here. But it's still it's just not the same.
And Zoom is definitely not the same. So I lived in the counseling world for a long time as a therapist prior to doing this. And during COVID, it's like go on to Zoom and counsel. I'm like, there is something about being in the room with somebody's pain or somebody's story or something. You feel it way more so than you do through this lagging camera.
Right.
you know, like there could be a lag in it. They could be froze for a few minutes, and
God
you lose.
forbid you have technical aspects.
Oh yeah.
You lose part of it. It's frustrating. You throw in all these other emotions that go into that, and acting is such a that's what your whole job. You're to convey emotions through what you're delivering of the lines.
You're pouring your guts out. I mean, you know, in some way, or you know, what the case may be. How are you advising? Like, how are you advising talent now? Like, when it comes to that, how are they dealing with it? Like,
you know, we had several talent who, when they could see that this was going to be the way things would be for a while, that were like, I'm done.
Really?
You know, and it was sad in a lot of ways, because there's a part of me that just goes, you know, you got to roll with the punches, right? But then I get it, you know. I mean, a lot of people are just going, this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't the industry that I signed up for.
Right.
So I do understand that. I think we try to counter those issues with making sure that we're in constant communication with casting directors to let them know your auditions are being watched. I mean, I think that's a lot of the things too, is now you just have to think about the logistics here. Casting directors can see way more people than they could ever see in person.
So true.
You know, you're sitting in front of a camera and you can just,
click.
in front of the computer and move on. And so I think the idea becomes, are they even watching what I'm doing? And so, you know, our job is to really stay in touch with casting so that we can figure out, are there things that we need to tweak in these auditions? What's not carrying over? That we need to change, and be sure to convey that to our actors.
That's good.
What would be your best advice for somebody that wants to get into the industry, is new, and they're looking to say, okay, I think I want to give this a shot? What would your advice be?
Yeah, I think get into an acting class if you've never had one. I think that's super, super important. I mean, most people just don't know basics. And acting class will definitely help you do that. And even if you do have experience and it's been on the stage, there's a big difference between the acting you do on the stage and the acting you do on the camera, and you have to acknowledge that. And realize that you're obtaining representation for the on-camera side of things. There are now so many ways to get experience on your resume even before you approach having representation. If it's a low budget, no budget, be careful with those things. But there are ways that you get a chance to get in front of the camera and figure out, are your expectations real?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because, you know, we all have a lot of stars in our eyes. And we've seen people become overnight sensations on YouTube. And we didn't realize that there was a whole lot of hurry up and wait. And I have one line, he went that way.
That's right.
So true.
So
That's
so true.
I mean, does that really push your buttons? And is that the thing? And are you ready to devote the time? I mean, you have to encounter reality here. And there are ways to do that before you say, I'm going to obtain representation, because you have to give us as the agent something to work with.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
It's true.
You know,
It's true.
so I I shot with a lot of animal talent over the years. We were having some of this conversation earlier. Would shoot for Petco and PetSmart, anything that had animals in it. We just tended to shoot a lot of that. So to quote one of our animal agents that we'd work with, she had she represented the dog on like Marmaduke and a bunch of other, like Great Dane, I think it was, a lot of other big movies and shows. And she said, so if we were going to take your household dog and bring it on the set, I'd rather put a needle in my eye. Because your dog's going to run around, make the director mad, now he's going to get shot, and I'm going to get fired. And so that was the short version of saying your dog has to be trained and set ready. Know how to function in that atmosphere. They're representing me. They have to get the job done. There's a lot of nuances to go into that. But it's very relatable, you know. These are people, we know, not animals, just saying, I know. Precious people.
Yeah.
Nobody write letters.
Nobody write letters. Yes, right.
Right.
But like to your point, you know, there's a training that is required. They are first of all, they're representing themselves. You don't want to go in there and look, you know, just like a goof, like you just don't know what you're doing, and you want representing the agency and want to do good by everyone, you know, that's involved in a project.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think approaching it, I think a lot of people approach it as maybe I can do that kind of thing instead of professional career in it.
Sure.
You know, like you had opened up with saying you have to have the professionalism when it comes to it, even in the small.
That's right.
Like even in the smallness of things, be on time, make yourself valuable when you are there. Know your lines. Also, maybe you have one line, but if you're serious about the industry and you're serious about the business, learn something else on set.
Yeah,
learn all the other things on set, because it just adds to your ability to understand and be more comfortable on set as a talent.
Right.
You know, I mean, I can say the more times you walk on this set, it's like home.
That's right.
Right? The more you're on set, it's a home. So now you throw out a lot of the natural fight or flight responses that we have as humans when you're in a situation like this. You got all these cameras, and and even though you can't see here right now, but the 10 people behind over there on that side watching us now, right? That type thing, you have to get familiar with.
Right.
And every set that gets bigger gets more people. You know, we've talked about this with, you know, my brother was on the set of 1883 as casted. And he was like, Amber, easily 200 in production just for that one scene.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you're supposed to deliver lines and be all this with everything dangling and hanging around you. Yeah. So those are the scenarios that I think you two are speaking to, the fact of saying you got to be able to handle that, and that is what that is.
Go do extra work.
Yeah.
Totally. I say extra work is such great training because you are actually just getting a chance to move your eyeballs around and see what's going on, you know, and at some point in time, by the time you get to representation, we're not saying, you know, get up and do extra work every day, but in the very beginning, just getting on that set is such valuable training.
Totally.
Yeah. I really want to speak to the younger. My heart is for the young ones trying to get into this industry and help them, because they're just so full of passion and desire and want to, but this industry can be tough. And to help encourage them to do it in the right way is part of the reason why I asked the question, you know, what do we advise those kids, the younger generation, on how to do this and do it right? You do not have to sacrifice your morals or values to be in this business.
No,
there is
absolutely not.
Tons of work.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work, and good work.
Yes.
So be smart about what you choose to get experience in, and know that what you get experience in does paint the way for your trajectory of your career in this industry.
And this is a part, I think it's really important to say, and more important when we're talking about teenagers, where, you know, you do start to be faced with moral decisions.
Yes.
this, whatever it is, won't be your last opportunity, for one. So take the death grip off.
Right.
Yes.
This is a part of what you do, not who you are.
Come on.
And so I think it's really important to get that into your soul, into your spirit, so that you have a clear identity.
That's so good.
And so you're not willing to make the kind of sacrifices that you're going to look back in 10 years and go, what in the world was I thinking?
Right.
And have those questions that are lingering in the back of your mind. And we're in a society now where things live forever.
That's
Yay,
true.
they do.
You know, I mean, they're going to outlive you.
Yep.
And so play basketball, go have the birthday party with your friends, tube the river, do what you need to do that adds to you as a person.
Yes.
This is a part of it. And that way you're not put in a position where you think that this is everything, because it's not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No matter how
So good,
seriously you take it, it's not, you know? And so I think you see a lot of parents and kids that are willing to make choices that there's just no reason to make them.
That's right. That's such good advice.
Yeah.
Cindy, that is such good advice. I mean,
That's
I
good.
remember along the way, I certainly had to, even as a director, you know, you need money. You're trying to work. You're trying to build this career. You know, money. I mean, it equals your survival. You know, at that point. And so there was plenty of jobs that I just didn't agree with me. Like it didn't agree. I didn't stand for that. And by doing that was saying I am standing in league with that thing, and I just couldn't do it. And it was tough at the time, because it's like I needed what that would produce, but ultimately I didn't need what that would produce. You know what I mean? So that's so good.
And this industry breeds this environment that is like what you said. One of the greatest thing that you said was, oh my gosh, if I don't take this one, I'll never get another opportunity. It's this gamble mentality that it's like, I gotta risk it all right now. But you really don't. No. If you want a long-term career in anything, it's not like right now is the only time ever. It's, you know, this is my big break. Like there's only one. Like that there's only one big break. There's not just one big break. All the people that you hear that have had a big break have been doing it for a long time. Very, 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 very rare. You like hear, even if I think it's Chris Pratt was a waiter in Hawaii or something like that, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Prior to that, I mean, a lot of things that they have done to lead up to that moment to be able to step into those shoes.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
Right.
Hey,
so
I hired a lot of waiters and waitresses over the years. Just saying, I remember being in film school in New York, in Manhattan, and hiring a waiter, and then just some random person I met at the park. And my question was, hey, are you an actor? And I was in New York, so the answer was, yes. They were all actors anyway, you know. But you're right, you know, and it's I love that path that you guys are talking about. That is so key to this thing, you know. It's fun, we love it, we enjoy it, but the identity, that's a huge key right there.
Yeah.
Because you wrapped your identity, you know, up in something like this, you know, it's easy to get crushed. It's easy to have up and down. I got the audition, they like me, they don't like me, they like me, they don't like me. You can't live that way.
And there's just way too many factors that are completely out of your control.
Oh, totally. Yes, 100%.
I mean, and so if you allow that to frame you as a person, you're in for a world of trouble. You know, and so this is why I tell the parents when I'm doing an interview, let your child be a child. You got to take this seriously when you commit to something. I mean, there are life lessons that are being learned here, right?
Right.
But at the same time, it is very much about we're trying to kind of get together and form well-rounded individuals.
Yes.
You know, and so much of that is about the things that you do outside of what's on the back of your resume.
So true.
Yeah, and over time you develop into a really strong talent. So if you aren't able to look at it as a whole and you burn yourself out, then all that time you've poured in doesn't actually develop into the very best.
It's true.
Right?
You're burned out. You're done.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've got to keep a balance within it and an understanding to know this is part of it. It's fun. Eventually, enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
That's right.
Enjoy the journey of getting to where that you're supposed to be in the industry.
Do you know how much it has, I guess, meant to me over the years, like being in in the middle of casting, I'm directing something, for somebody to come in, talent to come in, and then be so confident in themselves, not desperate.
Yeah.
Not desperate.
Yeah.
Confident. Yeah. If I get this, if I don't get this, it's all good.
Yeah.
That I could actually see them. I could see them. You not desperate them, them. And that's really who I want to cast. I'm not casting desperate you.
Right.
I want to cast you. I want you to shine your best. The number one thing I try to do, like in an audition, is I try to get them to relax.
Right.
I do different things to get them to relax. So one of the, this whole line of thought right here is so good, and it's kind of like in some ways anti, it's not intuitive because you love this thing. So I love that we're speaking to it. But the best version of you is a comfortable you. When it's just you being you, it's not a desperate you. When you come in, you're prepared, and if you get it or you don't get it, you're having fun, you're enjoying the process. Enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Can we say enjoy the process, right?
Yeah, what comes to my mind is my son kicked in high school. He's a kicker. And when he would get up there to kick in like the game-winning point, I would be losing my mind. I'm so nervous. But then I would have to say, man, you've done this how many countless times? This is a walk in the park for you. You've done this over and over and over and over. The process, right? You've practiced it. You've trained it. You've done it. It's kind of like if you don't practice, you don't learn it, you don't do it, you miss.
Right.
You miss. And the journey of getting in and loving all parts of it. Don't go. We live in a generation that if I only have 100 followers, that's not enough. I need 100 million followers,
Right.
But to get to the 100 million followers, you got to start at the 100 followers. To get into it, enjoy the process of it, and eventually you don't crumble under that pressure.
Yeah.
When it is the game-winning point, when it is the role you do need to land, and you are able to stand there confident and comfortable, that comes over your time of doing it and holding realistic expectations and doing well, being on time, doing the things that you should do, putting in the extra work, but also just enjoying life too along the way to help you build your own person and your
That's
own
what
personality.
Makes you interesting.
Yeah.
Especially now in a lot of auditions when you've got it's carried by a voiceover, you've got no one on camera that has speaking lines. They're just kind of these lifestyle, we're sitting here and we're dining, all this improv, and your audition could very well be tell me about you. Nobody wants to hear that you're an actor. We know that.
Yeah.
It's frankly quite boring.
Yes,
when I say tell me a little bit about you, I want to know about all those other things that make you you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's just so important to, vary your interest. Understand that you're bringing that full person to the table. And that's the thing that's going to be fascinating to capture on camera.
Yeah.
I think so.
This has been really good.
I know.
This is so good.
I know.
Okay, we're having her back.
I know.
I'm just saying
you
now.
gotta come
We're
back.
coming. She's coming back.
Yeah.
Maybe that was all I had to say.
No, that was so good. I know we got to wrap it up and all that.
Yeah.
Man, would love having you here. It's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
See, I told you, like, she's
I
used to
know.
not be in front of the camera, doing
like,
her
oh,
casting
stop.
thing. It's fun. We do have a fun time. But so how do people get a hold of you, follow, submit, whatever? How do they connect?
Okay, so our website is pbtalent.com. And you can actually submit your materials online on our website if you're looking to get into this. We do want experienced talent, so hopefully you have some training under your belt. Typically, we're looking for a headshot, resume, demo reel. If you're doing voiceover, your voiceover reel. If you're a ghostwriter, I hope you have some New York Times bestsellers under your belt. So if not, otherwise, that's the best way to get in touch with us. There is just through the website, and we're on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and we try to be pretty active in all those places.
Yeah.
And we're kind of old school, so we have a physical office, and we're there every day. We got a phone, and we have real people there.
Wow. They answer the phone.
I love that.
We answer the phone. It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 It's absolutely crazy. It's
Well,
wonderful.
if you haven't been able to tell already, this has got to be, if you're looking for a talent agent or anything like this is the kind that you want wherever you are in the world watching this. I hope this raises the bar, raises a standard on what somebody who's going to fight for you, support you, who should be in your corner. This gal right here and this agency is one of them. So I'm Kelly Leger.
This is Amber Buto.
And we've been here with my dear friend Cindy from Pastorini Bosby from For the One Studio, Studio One. This is Set Life. We'll see you next time.